ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive.
It is Tuesday, May 13th. Your drive begins now on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Our text line this hour is brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop. We'll get to that in a moment. 304-396-TALK. 304-396-8255. We got a little Marshall baseball to start with, and then we're going to get into the big story of the day. Thundering Herd was set to take on Virginia Tech. It's been canceled. Weather took that game out, so the game's not going to be rescheduled. This was the final midweek non-conference game for the Thundering Herd, so no Virginia Tech Marshall game tonight. Herd now getting set for the final series of the regular season. 3 games set against Georgia Southern. That's going to be over at Jack Cook Field, and that'll begin on Thursday. We're going to have that Saturday game for you right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930, and then it'll be off to the conference tournament for the Thundering Herd, and we'll have all those tournament games again right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Another addition to the Marshall women's basketball team, and Coach Folks, I'm sure, is not done yet, but this time the Thundering Herd picks up Tamaya Lewis Utsi. She is a 5'8" guard from Trenton, New Jersey. She was at VCU. She averaged as a junior 14.5 points a contest, also brought in almost 4 rebounds a game and over 3 assists per contest. She is known for her scoring ability. She's a shot maker, and so she looks like a really good pickup for Julie Folks and her squad. And, of course, if you look at the Herd socials, they've got video of her on their X account right now. And she's described as an explosive scorer with the ability to take over games from the perimeter. So it looks like a solid pickup for Julie Folks and her squad. So we'll, of course, try to get her on as well as some of the new signees once the class is fully announced. We've been pushing to try to get Coach on, but she's still got work to do. So there's more to go as far as new names coming in to the Thundering Herd. So I want to get that text line going here in just a few minutes because we've got to get into the story that broke not that long ago. And I have been pushing for this for a long time. Pete Rose and Shoeless Joe Jackson and other deceased players from the Major League Baseball permanently ineligible list have been removed. So baseball has finally made the move. And not just Pete Rose, Joe Jackson as well. That is something you got to talk about because, first of all, I didn't think that would happen. I never thought Shoeless Joe Jackson was getting off that list or Pete Rose. So it comes down from the commissioner's office that permanent ineligibility ends upon the death of the player or the passing of the disciplined individual is how the statement read. And so Pete Rose is now removed from the permanently ineligible list. I thought this ban would hold forever, even after the groundswell of support for Pete Rose being reinstated, after his death and the groundswell of support that came after that for his reinstatement. I didn't think that I would see this day. And not only is it that, it's Shoeless Joe Jackson. Baseball, very stern when it comes to impropriety, gambling. Now I can download several apps, and you know what? I can put together a parlay. Who's going to have a triple tonight? Who's going to have a shutout tonight? I can do all of that, and that kind of advertising money goes into a lot of the sports you see. You can watch any sporting event. You're going to see odds. You're going to see bets. You're going to see money lines. You're going to see all of that. It's starting to be in the fabric of sport now. Not that it was never there. It's just we say the quiet thing out loud now. People are gambling and betting on the sport. Now, it's different when you gamble on the sport and you are an active participant. It's completely different. And I don't think anyone excuses Pete Rose for making that mistake. If you believe him and he's true to his word, he never bet against the Reds, even though there's some evidence that might have indicated that. He never bet against the Reds, only bet against the other team. And we could go down that rabbit hole all day long. My argument always has been, and I'm not a baseball writer, I'm never going to be a baseball writer, so I will not have the luxury, the privilege, or the responsibility to elect a member into the Baseball Hall of Fame. So I'm an outsider, but the Hall of Fame is a museum as far as I'm concerned. I've always said that this is a place, it's like a hall of records. We look at the greatest in the game here, but it doesn't mean the greatest person. The Hall of Fame isn't about being the greatest person. It's not the Hall of Good Guys. It never has been. It's the Hall of Fame. What is this person famous for? And really, Hall of Fame may be misnamed because it's where we celebrate the amazing accomplishments of players that have achieved. And you cannot have a Hall of Fame that is complete in baseball without recognizing the good and the bad of what Pete Rose did. It's incomplete to me. It is not valid. You can't tell me that one of the most important figures in baseball isn't in the Hall of Fame. And this is a great opportunity to tell the story of Pete Rose. There's nothing that says, hey, we're going to put a bust of him up here, and here's all his accomplishments, and we're just going to overlook. No, you want to tell the entire Pete Rose story. It has to be a complete story. That's the thing. This is a great opportunity to tell the complete story. You're not looking to sugarcoat his induction into a Hall of Fame. You bring him in, you put him in the Hall of Fame because, one, as a player, he earned it. The numbers are there. Tape don't lie. Neither do the stats, neither does his career. His significance in the game demands he be in the Hall of Fame. You don't have to glorify him as this individual that is virtuous. You put him on a pedestal. You don't have to do that. You can tell the complete story. He's a human. He's flawed. We all are flawed. I am flawed. You are flawed. I hope that the Hall of Fame voters, I hope they do the right thing. It's not for me to tell them what to do. It's ultimately their decision. They have to justify it. They have to live with it. If I was a voter, I would vote for his inclusion in the Hall of Fame. If I'm someone who believes that the game was harmed by Pete Rose, I'm probably going to vote against him. I don't know if the game was harmed by Pete Rose. I think there's a lot of harm going on now to the game and not just baseball, but I don't believe that Pete Rose damaged the game so much. I mean, the Houston Astros, anyone? How about the supposed steroid era? I mean, we can go down the list. There are things that we can talk about that harm the game, but I understand the suspension. A lot of it's on Pete as well. Had an opportunity to reevaluate his life, had an opportunity to step back and understand where he went wrong and how to fix it. All you had to do was stay away from gambling. That's it. But now we make it easy. Download the app. I'll build my parlay now. I'll get some bonus bets as well. If I hit it, I can cash out. We do that every day. We speak the quiet part out loud. People are gambling on sports, and we're profiting from it. We're having competitions between gambling apps to attract people. I've done gambling commercials to tell you, hey, check out this new app. And there are more than one. There's an appetite for it, and it's only growing. There's programming. There's networks. They're all talking about this isn't just a Vegas thing anymore. You go to Vegas so you can legally gamble. That was cool. But now I can sit in the corner of the office here and I can make my bet daily. It's changed. We say it out loud now. There's gambling going on. Is Pete Rose 100% innocent? Absolutely not. Is he worthy of being in the Hall of Fame? Absolutely. And then there's Shoeless Joe Jackson. Maybe not as much as an outcry for Shoeless Joe Jackson because we got to go back a ways for anyone to have any idea about his story. And maybe you saw 8 Men Out. Maybe you saw that movie and you thought, oh man, He needs to be in the Hall of Fame. You need to reinstate him. And, of course, if you're a baseball fan, if you're a casual fan, you show up, you go to the game, you watch the game, cool. At the same time, if you're a baseball fan, you know the stories, you have heard them, you have lived them, because baseball is one of those sports that has a long history. And Shoeless Joe Jackson is part of that long history. And so I'm curious to see if he would receive serious consideration in 2025 to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. But the story is obviously going to be Pete Rose. Shoeless Joe Jackson died in 1951, had no recourse. And he was a guy that was considered for decades. Voters did vote on him. But Hall of Fame ballot, Pete Rose, those are two things that I didn't think that I would see at least in a long, long time, if ever. So now we'll see what happens. Will Pete Rose get in? Will Shoeless Joe Jackson get in? I mean, baseball has done its part now. He's eligible. And I think that's the right thing. He's eligible. Now it's up to the Hall of Fame voters to do what I think is the right thing. But they're going to have to vote their hearts and their convictions. And you know what? There are a lot of baseball writers that still to this day think that Pete Rose harmed the game of baseball. And he should be permanently banned from the Hall of Fame. For me, I'm a little softer on this subject because I don't consider the Hall of Fame this house of virtue. I don't consider it this place where only the most impeccable people reside. We can go down the list, I'm sure. We can look at everybody in the Hall of Fame. We can open up some closets here. I'd rather not, because it's not about that. What they do on the baseball field, what impact did they have to the game, good and bad. Our text line, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. I'm curious, genuinely today, where are you at on this? Should Pete Rose be in the Hall of Fame now that he's eligible? Do you agree with the ban being lifted? Also, do you think that he should be in the Hall of Fame? And we've also got some texts to get into as well. We had a lot of interesting discussions yesterday as far as the landscape of college athletics. Athletic director search continues. We'll get to all of that when we continue. Our text line brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop at 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. You're listening to The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Hurt at work? Tom Boggs is here for you in Huntington, and he's brought the expertise of Warner Law Offices with him.
Call 345-6789.
Big flavors, big savings, and top-notch quality. Only at Food Fair. Food Fair is excited to announce 3 new signature brands. Food Club brings families together with delicious, high-quality meals without the name brand price. Craven Flavors satisfies your cravings with bold, mouth-watering snacks, pizzas, and sweet treats. And Simply Done makes life easier with household essentials that get the job done right. Visit Food Fair today and enjoy the quality and savings in every aisle. Food Fair Market. The
soundtrack to your summer is back. Mount West 9th Street Live, downtown Huntington's favorite Friday night tradition, presented by Michelob Ultra and White Claw. Kick off the summer Friday, May 16th. It's K&B Pest Control Night with Brad Goodall on the Marshall OBGYN stage. The Little Caesars Kids Zone is back, and Go-Mart Happy Hour starts at 5. Enjoy food and drinks from the Marshall Hall of Fame Cafe, Sip Downtown Brasserie, and Summit Beer Station. Mark your calendar for next Friday, May 23rd for the Hooligans Homecoming Pre-Party. June 6th, 9th Street is Dead, featuring John Ingram's Dead Center and the music of the Grateful Dead. The Thundering Herd Rally is Friday, August 15th. 9th Street Live is driven by University Ford and built by Cardinal Roofing. Every Friday night through Labor Day, 9th Street in Huntington between 3rd and 4th Avenues. Sponsored by Delta Hotels, Wendy's, Mountain Mindful, City of Huntington, Marshall University, Blinko Glass Company, Marshall Health Arena, and Kindred Communications. This Friday, it's Brad Goodall at Mount West 9th Street Live.
Hit the road with the all-new University Ford. Choose from over 400 vehicles, all tariff-free, because Ford builds more American-made vehicles and employs more American workers than any other auto manufacturer. And now, for a limited time, University Ford is excited to extend their employee discount to you. That's right. Take advantage of employee pricing from University Ford. From America, for America. Don't wait. Get started at universityfordwv.com. We are University Ford. We are driving tradition forward.
If you're looking for the best spot to enjoy a drink this spring in Barbersville, or maybe the entire region, it's Kerber Beer Company on Brady Street next to 1861 Public House. Their Brady Street Beer Garden is the perfect place to sip a craft beer, cocktail, or glass of wine outside in the sun. Plus, there's great food, live music, and good vibes. Can't make it to the tap room? Kerber Beer is on tap at more than 25 locations. And if your favorite spot doesn't have it, just ask for it. Kerber Beer Company, from our village to your glass. KerberBeer.com.
Coldcats Baseball. Pick 6 season tickets are now available at Coldcats.net for only $60. Pick 6 games. Choose games with WWE Hall of Famer Sergeant Slaughter. July 4th, weekend fireworks shows. Bobblehead night. Tributes to Gilligan's Island and Taylor Swift. It's a summer of fun with Coldcats Baseball and your personal season tickets 6-pack for only $60. This is a limited offer. Go online now at Coldcats.net. Pick your 6 games and we'll see you at the ballpark. A summer season of fun not far from home. Now available at Coldcats.net.
Sweetie, want some fruit?
You have to use the right tool for the job. A power drill is the wrong tool to slice fruit. Just like an antibiotic is the wrong tool to treat viruses, including colds and flu. Antibiotics are only needed for certain bacterial infections. When they aren't needed, antibiotics won't help you, and the side effects could still hurt you. Ask your healthcare professional when an antibiotic is the right tool and when it's not. Visit cdc.gov/antibiotic-use.
When I grow up, I want to be a new pair of blue jeans.
When I grow up, I want to be a kid's first computer.
When I grow up, I don't want to be a piece of garbage. And if you recycle me, I won't be.
Give your garbage another life. Recycle. Learn how at iwanttoberecycled.org. Brought to you by Keep America Beautiful and the Ad Council.
This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Miss an episode? Catch it anytime on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
We continue on with this Tuesday edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930 with our text line open at 304-396-TALK. 304-396-8255. We've been discussing Pete Rose's reinstatement. He is no longer on the ineligible list. A few statements have been made. First up, statement from Bob Castellini, the principal owner and managing partner of the Cincinnati Reds, released moments after the announcement. It reads, "On behalf of the Reds and our generations of loyal fans, we are thankful for the decision of Commissioner Manfred and Major League Baseball regarding the removal of Pete Rose from the permanently ineligible list. Pete is one of the greatest players in baseball history, and Reds country will continue to celebrate him as we always have. We are especially happy for the Rose family to receive this news and what this decision could mean for them and all of Pete's fans." And don't forget, Pete was also a Philly for many years. The Philadelphia Phillies have released a statement with Mike Schmidt speaking about Pete Rose being removed from the permanently ineligible list. It reads, "The Phillies support today's decision by Commissioner Manfred and Major League Baseball to remove Pete Rose from the permanently ineligible list. As one of the greatest players in the history of the game, Pete made significant on-field contributions to the Phillies over his 5 seasons from 1979 to 83 with the club, highlighted by our first World Series title in 1980. It's a great day for baseball as Commissioner Manfred has reinstated Pete Rose, making him eligible for the National Baseball Hall of Fame. The ongoing question of whether Pete Rose should or shouldn't be in the Hall will be answered by a select panel in the next Classic Baseball Era Committee. Congratulations to Pete's family, his teammates, as well as his supporters who have waited many years for this opportunity for consideration." And so a lot of people close to Pete Rose and obviously supporting this decision, speaking out today. 304-396-TALK is your opportunity to speak out about it. 304-396-8255. While we're getting some of those responses, we got to go back to yesterday. Of course, we do the show live from 5 to 6. We also podcast, and that's available now on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. So sometimes we get responses to things that come in after airtime. Here's one of those now. Texter wrote in and said, Paul, Marshall and the Sun Belt probably needs to align themselves as and it broke up there. I'm trying to paraphrase as we go. As a farm team, I'm going to assume that's what they're trying to say, for the talent for the big schools, and try to figure out way to gain some benefits for development. And it was kind of jumbled. I was trying to make the best of it there, but I get the point. I appreciate the text. What do you think? Do you think that Marshall and the Sun Belt should consider being a developmental league for the power conferences? And I know there's some discussion of having some two-way deals here. You come here, you start here, and then you can go up. Or you need a little bit more playing time. We're going to send you down. We have an agreement. We're going to send you down, and then as soon as you're ready, we're going to call you back up. Would that even work in college athletics? Would that even play? Like, we're a developmental league? I mean, it works great in the minors because it's a different beast altogether. You have the parent club, and then you have the farm system. Now, the farm system is different than college athletics. For the NFL, the farm system is college athletics. So there's a different dynamic there. In different sports, it works differently. The farm system is college athletics for baseball or minor league baseball. It's all over the place. Same thing for hockey. You can have your rights acquired by a team, and then you work the deal out, and you can still continue on in college hockey. Then you can continue on with your junior team, whatever the arrangement, whatever the final decision is. You have those options here, but it works great in other sports because you have an understanding. This is the parent club. This is the pro team. These are also pro teams, but you're on your way up, and then you have some that are on their way down. But if you're looking at it from the standpoint that someday these players could be major league players, these someday players can be in the National Hockey League, and of course you have the NBA as well. It works, but do we want, and especially in college football, the NFL has one farm team. Well, one farm organization, and that is college football. So now we want to have a different structure to try to survive. So leagues like the Sun Belt have an agreement. Like, I don't want to say, do you have a parent team or you have a parent league? How would that work? I'm curious. I'm interested in that. Would schools have to go out and make deals like, okay, if you play at Marshall, we'll send you down to this school, but we might call you back up. And then we have an agreement if you can move up to this school, but we want to get something back in return, player that maybe is not getting enough playing time. That would completely change the dynamic of this thing here. I don't understand how that would work in college unless there's revenue to be made. Okay, we're going to give you X amount of revenue. And so we want to have the opportunity, if we have a player that we're not going to be able to develop, we send them down to you, and you develop them, and then we send them back up when they're ready, and we have like a talent pool. You can transfer. Well, then that would make the transfer portal different because I can already transfer. I'm not getting enough playing time here, so I'm going to go somewhere else because I'm a big deal. I was a big deal in high school. What are you doing? Don't you realize who I am? And so I'm curious if someone can come up with a way to make that make sense to me. How do you make it so the power schools and the G5, whatever you want to call them, the autonomy schools and the G schools, it's like your own G league here. Yeah, we'll send players down to you, but you got to send them right back. And can you transfer players in season? Hey, we're going to make that run for the conference championship. We need a couple of players back. I mean, does that change the dynamic completely? Because wouldn't you want to compete for your championship as well? Marshall's making a run in the conference championship. Oh, well, yeah, but the point guard that's having a great season got called up. Well, wait a minute. We're in a championship run as well. We want to win a championship here. What do we get out of that? might be you get a little money, because ultimately, if you're not in one of the power conferences, you get an outside shot of making it to the playoff. And then everyone else, you're playing for meaningless bowls. But I understand the whole idea that you are hopeful that your school is going to have the year. Marshall's going to have the year to get into the playoff. Christian Spears said it himself that Marshall would be the first Sun Belt team to get in. And so that's the expectation. Bob Pruitt, one of the most iconic coaches in Marshall football history. We play for championships. How does that work if you're all of a sudden in a situation where, okay, we're a developmental team now. We're a developmental league. And a lot of programs are combating this by cutting programs. I saw a couple of news items today. They weren't that major of schools, but they're cutting programs. Like tennis, they have programs that are in different leagues, and so it's kind of been a strain. So you cut those programs. Why? You're going to funnel some of that into basketball, football, the other sports. Obviously, you're going to funnel it mostly in football and then basketball, depending on where you are. If you're a Big East school, of course, you can funnel a lot more into basketball. But if you're a football school and you're trying to funnel everything you can into football, then you're going to look at ways to cut the budget. And how do you eliminate the budget? Well, you get rid of some sports. Yeah, I don't know if you can do that at this point at Marshall. I don't know what you could cut or what the future is going to hold there. But if anything like that would happen, personally, I don't know too many Marshall fans that would say, yeah, that's cool. Let's be a developmental league. Let's be one of those schools that players come in and then they come out as soon as they get ready and go. And we're happy with that. I mean, it's one thing. If I'm watching, for example, if I'm going to the ballpark next month, I'm going to go watch the Coldcats. That's the purest form of developmental league. I want them to win, obviously. That's the hometown team. But at the end of the day, these kids are trying to develop and get ready for a potential Major League Baseball career and get better in college as well. This is the whole purpose of this. It's fun. I'm not stressing out over wins and losses. I want these kids to win, obviously, but I'm not losing my mind if they lose because they're there to learn. They're there to develop. Same thing with minor league hockey when it was in Huntington. Yeah, I wanted the Huntington Blizzard to win every single game, but I didn't lose my mind over it because this is a developmental league. It's to get you ready for the next step. You want to be competitive, and that's the challenge because you got to fund this thing, so you have to keep the product entertaining. And that's the balance. How do you keep the product, Marshall or any other school in the Sun Belt, entertaining and generating interest if all of a sudden your best players get pushed up because you have that two-way developmental mentality, which I think is going to happen, believe it or not, more so in college athletics than I'm probably letting on. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We'll get some of your text in about the reinstatement of Pete Rose, and we'll do that when we continue on this edition of The Drive, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Save big money on your next staining project right now at Menards. Pittsburgh's Ultra Advanced Semi-Transparent Exterior Stain and Sealant in One can be applied to damp wood, allowing you to clean the surface and stain in one day. Save big on Ultra Advanced Exterior Stain and Sealant. And don't forget to check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
The Greenup County Public Library celebrates summer with their summer reading program. See the website for details. Girls' Night Out at the McHale Branch will be Thursday, May 15th at 6 p.m. with the movie Unbreakable Boy for ages 18 and up. The Flatwoods Branch will host a mother-son dance Saturday, May 17th from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. Sign up for these and other events at greenuplib.org or visit the Greenup County Public Library Facebook page for complete details and other library news.
I'm Nori, and when I was young, my mom opened our home to someone who needed a secure and safe place. She taught him what it was like to have someone care about you, having dinner at home or going out to eat together.
In West Virginia, families open their homes every year to adult family care.
Some folks need a little extra help, but everybody deserves a family.
Call the Department of Human Services and ask to speak to an adult family care home finder at 304-269-6820. Sponsored by the West Virginia Department of Human Services, the West Virginia Broadcasters Association, and this station. This project is supported by the Administration for Community Living, ACL, of the United States U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, as part of a financial assistance award totaling $1,227,345, with 100% funded by ACL HHS. The contents are those of the authors and do not necessarily represent the official views of, nor an endorsement by ACL HHS or the U.S. government.
Many people seem to find certain words more pleasing when spoken with a British accent, like squirrel, schedule, and strawberry. But some phrases sound more pleasing in any accent. For example, switch to T-Mobile's new experience plans and the price of your rate plan won't change for 5 years, guaranteed. Here's another pleasing phrase. With T-Mobile, families of 3 can save 20% versus comparable plans plus streaming from AT&T and Verizon. Saving more with T-Mobile sounds very pleasing, don't you agree? Now let's hear it from the man who does the American voiceovers. Mr. T-Mobile voice.
T-Mobile's new experience plans. Families can save 20% today, and your price won't change tomorrow.
Nothing sounds more pleasing than T-Mobile's 5-year price guarantee. We hope you've enjoyed this advertisement.
Guarantees monthly price of on-network talk, text, and 5G data. Exclusions like taxes and fees apply. Savings with 3 lines. 3rd line free via monthly bill credits. Plan features and taxes and fees vary. See exclusions and details at T-Mobile.com/switch.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover guitar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
How can I help my daughter with her reading?
Searching for help with Dachshund reading.
Oh.
Let me try. Sarah's bright, but when she's reading, she has trouble sounding out words.
Playing world music.
What?
I give up.
Wait, I was trying to show you how Sarah feels every day. Redirecting to understood.org.
Join parents and experts at understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues to help your child thrive.
Brought to you by understood.org and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Dave Wilson, host of Metro News Talk Line, and you're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Thank you, Dave. Don't forget, Talk Line coming back tomorrow, 10:06 right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Our text line this hour is brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. From our text line, quote, "Say it ain't so, Joe." End quote. Appreciate that. Yeah, baseball today making news. Shoeless Joe Jackson, Pete Rose, now off the inactive list. They are now eligible for the Hall of Fame. And for a little clarity on that, it's not necessarily going to be a slam dunk to get him in, but I feel good about it because of the fact that now it's going to go to the committee. Baseball writers would usually have the shot at this, but voting rules require that candidates on the baseball writers' ballot must have played in the major leagues no more than 15 years prior to each election. And so Rose obviously has gone past that, and same with Shoeless Joe Jackson. Now the Hall of Fame is going to have to determine how that's going to play out, but it's going to go to committee. And so that means you're going to have people that maybe will have a better understanding and put some bias aside of what this would mean to have Pete Rose, Shoeless Joe Jackson in the Baseball Hall of Fame. Now, the Classic Baseball Era Committee meets every 3 years. Is it possible? Is it possible that maybe Pete Rose gets in? I'm holding out hope that he gets in. Texter says, Paul, it was a long one here. I like it. 1, you're right. The Hall of Fame is not a shrine for the morally good. Mickey Mantle and Babe Ruth are known for alcohol abuse. Ty Cobb was known to sharpen his spikes for maximum damage. 2, if we become a minor league for the P4, we should drop our sports to D2 and play schools like UC and State. 3, Brooklyn Ulrich is in the portal as a grad student. I had not seen the Brooklyn story yet. Thanks for the heads up on that. To your other 2, I appreciate that. Thank you for the first one, because I don't want to get into the business of, all right, was he totally a morally upstanding citizen? Did he have any vices? Oh, well, he was an alcoholic. Well, we can't include him. It's not about that. The fact that we know his story adds, and I'm not trying to glorify this, but it adds some flavor to him and some character to him. Not always good, but it's more substance. We know the story. What was this guy like? Why was he this way? Was he a product of the times? Was he just a complete jerk? I'm looking at you, Ty Cobb. Mickey Mantle, Babe Ruth, not perfect guys. I'm sure a lot of these guys back in the day were womanizers as well. They all had their vices. We're not looking at it from that standpoint. We're looking at it, what was the contribution to the game of baseball? What was the impact? What did they do? What were their accomplishments, achievements? And tell the entire story. All the good things, the bad things. I'm not looking for an indictment of anyone, but at the same time, you can tell the full story, give the full picture, give that person context. Give Pete Rose context. Here's what Pete Rose did for the game of baseball. Here's where Pete Rose went wrong. Here's why Pete Rose went wrong. Here's how this punishment basically cost him the rest of his life. He could have been a prosperous figure in baseball for so many years. And now we're finally getting to openly celebrate him again. And a lot of people have been calling for this for years, and I think now we've softened on him. And as to your other point, I would hope that Marshall would not be a feeder school. The whole push from the tragedy of the plane crash, the scandals of impropriety, Marshall cheating, all of that, you're trying to overcome all of that. And thankfully, for the longest time, you're able to recoup and rebuild the program at the 1AA level to get back to Division I. And then for a long time, you were really a team other teams wanted to avoid because you had Chad Pennington, Randy Moss, Byron Leftwich. We can go on. But you have built the program up to be competitive in Division I. Now, ultimately, everybody wants to win a national championship. That's going to be the hardest thing to do if you're Marshall, because you're not a power school. And what I mean by that is you're not in a conference where truckloads of money, and you still see programs getting truckloads of money, and they can't seem to manage a shot at a national championship either. It doesn't guarantee anything. You're in a power conference doesn't mean you're going to have a shot. It takes a lot of money, as we've seen, to maintain that level of program, to compete yearly for a national championship. And so we know that Marshall is going to be a long shot at all times to win a championship, a national championship. But you can win your conference. That's an accomplishment right there. You're the Sun Belt champions. And you could get into the playoffs. And I always felt that it's not going to fly. If I was in charge of this committee, it would be my way. I always felt that the conference champion, and I'm not going to try to spare anyone's feelings, but if you don't win your conference championship, then you're an at-large if I get you in here. But conference champions, all leagues should get in. Same way as the NCAA tournament. That's the one thing. You might not be a multi-bid league in basketball, but you win the conference tournament, you get into the Sweet 16, Elite 8 by any way you can, because you have a shot now. You get into the round of 64. You win, you're in the round of 32. You win, you're in the Sweet 16. You win, you're in the Elite 8, Final Four, National Championship. We all know what is going to happen here. Appreciate the texter that shot me A note, here's Brooklyn's note. She says, thank you to Marshall and Marshall fans for everything you've done for me over the last 4 years. With that being said, I am now in the transfer portal as a grad student for my last year of eligibility. So we appreciate the note on that. I hate that for Marshall because there is so much I think that this season showed. Marshall softball was progressing, finished second, voted ninth, finished second, but then had a disappointing conclusion to the season by losing to the eventual champion, the 7 seed. And so you're going to see players come and go. I hate to see that for Brooklyn, but she is now in as a grad transfer. So I appreciate everyone keeping me updated on that. We got to hit our final break. We'll come back and we will continue on. Your texts are welcome. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. More on this edition of The Drive coming up. ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
It's the Grand Slam sales event at Ironton Automotive, and you're up to bat. Drive one out of here with unbeatable deals on winning lineups of cars, trucks, and SUVs. Slide into a new ride today with easy financing, top dollar trade-ins, and home run savings that'll have you rounding the bases in style. Don't wait, these offers won't last forever. Visit 2125 South 3rd Street in Ironton, Ohio, or online anytime at irontonautomotive.com and score big before this event heads for the fences.
Get ready to hit the road with Gomart. Each month we're featuring a special item to fuel your journey and score you bonus reward points in our Road to Rewards promotion. Each purchase earns you a token, so load up and keep cruising toward big rewards. Plus, the top 25 token earners each month will receive 5,000 additional bonus reward points. Check the Gomart app to see this month's featured item. And as always, earn additional savings on products store-wide with reward member exclusives. Go to Gomart.com for more details.
The soundtrack to your summer is back. Mount West 9th Street Live, downtown Huntington's favorite Friday night tradition, presented by Michelob Ultra and White Claw. Kick off the summer Friday, May 16th. It's K&B Pest Control Night with Brad Goodall on the Marshall OBGYN stage. The Little Caesars Kids Zone is back, and Gomart Happy Hour starts at 5. Enjoy food and drinks from the Marshall Hall of Fame Cafe, Sip Downtown Brasserie, and Summit Beer Station. Mark your calendar for next Friday, May 23rd for the Hooligans Homecoming Pre-Party. June 6th, 9th Street is Dead, featuring John Ingram's Dead Center and the music of the Grateful Dead. The Thundering Herd Rally is Friday, August 15th. 9th Street Live is driven by University Ford and built by Cardinal Roofing. Every Friday night through Labor Day, 9th Street in Huntington between 3rd and 4th Avenues. Sponsored by Delta Hotels, Wendy's, Mountain Mindful, City of Huntington, Marshall University, Blinko Glass Company, Marshall Health Arena, and Kindred Communications. This Friday, it's Brad Goodall at Mount West 9th Street Live.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit. 800-960-3377. That's 800-960-3377. 800-960-3377.
Okay, forest animals, today is a new day. Kids are coming to the forest, and it's up to us to make their visit a good one. Sparrow.
Yes?
Have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
Catchy. I like it. Okay, River.
Dude.
How's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man. Perfect for a little riverside shoeless relaxation.
Ah, good. Owl, you here? Course. Who's asking? I am. Look, you know the drill. Sleep during the day, scare the kids at night. Perfect. I love my job. Oak Tree?
What's up?
Still in the same place I left you last year. That's what I like. Consistency.
Well, it's not like I'm going anywhere for the next couple hundred years.
I know. I love it. Turtle. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. You'd think he would have learned by now to leave the night before our meetings. Okay, Squirrel! Has anybody seen Mr. Squirrel?
The Forest has been preparing just for you. Visit a forest near you today. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
When I grow up, I want to be a new pair of blue jeans.
When I grow up, I want to be a kid's first computer.
When I grow up, I don't want to be a piece of garbage. And if you recycle me, I won't be.
Give your garbage another life. Recycle. Learn how at iwanttoberecycled.org. Brought to you by Keep America Beautiful and the Ad Council.
You're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Final segment for today's edition of The Drive here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Let's get you caught up in everything baseball-wise. The Pirates start Game 2 of their series tonight with the Mets. 6:45 our airtime right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Mets got the better of the Pirates yesterday, 4-3. Guardians beat the Brewers 5-0. Game 2 of the series tonight, 6:10 in Cleveland. The Reds had Monday off, and they open up a home series with the White Sox tonight at 6:40. Stanley Cup playoffs, it made my heart sing to see Carolina beat Washington 5-2. The Hurricanes lead that series 3-1. Edmonton beats Las Vegas 3-0. Oilers lead that series 3-1. I'm good with that. Absolutely. And hey, how about the Knicks getting the win over the Celtics 121-113. New York up on that series 3-1. Pacers could eliminate Cleveland. Game 5 coming up tonight. Pacers lead that series 3-2-1. And a interesting footnote in wrestling. If you are a certain age, you know of the homicidal, suicidal, genocidal, death-defying maniac that was hardcore professional wrestling legend Sabu, passing away at age 60. Grew to fame in ECW during the 1990s. The man was crazy. Barbed wire, chairs, tables, two-time ECW champion, tag team champion as well, and world television champion. So if you are a certain age, you are saddened today by the loss of Sabu. And that's going to do it for this edition. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate everyone who was with us today. You can continue to find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Paul Swann. Also, if you miss anything today and you'd like to go back, or if you ever find yourself where you can't listen, we got you covered. It's our podcast. It's available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. I'll be back with you tomorrow here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Broadcasting from the Dave & Buster's studios. Eat, drink, play, and watch at Dave & Buster's in the Huntington Mall. ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. WRBC, W231BS Huntington.